Alright. I was gonna try to do like somewhat of a professional start to this video, but tonight was insane. This was the most goals that the Ottawa Senators have scored in a game this season. I think I'm more relieved than I am happy because the Sens were finishing on their chances tonight, and it was just so refreshing to see. I don't love the way they played in the third period. We'll get to that. But this was insane tonight. So, game 46 of the season was played on January 14th against the New York Rangers. It was a 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time. This was the second meeting of the season between these two teams. So the Rangers won 4-2 on December 4th in Ottawa, and safe to say the Sens got their revenge tonight. Tonight's score was literally double what the score was in their last game against each other, so that's just insane. I feel like I'm going to say that word a lot in this video. So, starting goalies, this was interesting. Levi Merlainen did start again tonight. I was not a fan of that, but he played a good 2 periods. Third period was kind of a mess, but again, we'll get to that. It was Jonathan Quick starting for the Rangers. No Shesterkin tonight for the Rangers, and they were also missing Adam Fox. So this was a big opportunity for the Sens, and they took advantage. So this was the ninth start in a row for Levi Merlainen, and I didn't put down who it was, but that ninth start in a row is the longest streak for a goalie to start games in the league this season. He is tied with, it's one of the Colorado goalies. I don't know if it's Blackwood or Wedgwood. I want to say it's Wedgwood, but that's insane. So I was nervous going into this one because of that. And not just that, but that's a big part of the reason. And well, we know how fragile this team can be sometimes, and we kind of saw it a little bit tonight. So um, yeah, so the Sens were 21, 19, and 5 coming into tonight, and the Rangers were 20, 21, and 6 coming into tonight, 5, 12, and 4 at home. And they have lost 4 in a row, now make it 5 in a row. Um, this team has been struggling like the Canucks last night. It kind of felt like the game last night, just stuff was going in. And the Rangers are the only team in the Eastern Conference under 500. So, yeah, just this is insane. Like 12 goals. Like we're so used to watching the Sens. If you're a Sens fan, we're used to watching them not finish on their chances, but they did it tonight, finally, and it was so refreshing. Um, yeah, this was a wild one. What else can I say? Alright, so let's go ahead and dive into the stats here. There's a bit of an oddity when you look at the stats, and you probably know what I'm talking about. Not that it matters in an 8-4 win, but I I can't say that score with a straight face. I'm sorry, but I can't. The Ottawa Senators beat the New York Rangers by a score of 8-4 on the road. They are now 22, 19, and 5. They have won their last two, and the Rangers are now 20, 22, and 6. And again, they're the only team under 500 in the East Conference. So, yeah, it's a game they had to win. I wasn't expecting this tonight, obviously. Who was? And another thing too, I do want to add in, like the Sens are coming in on a back-to-back. The Rangers did not play yesterday, I'm pretty sure. I can check that real quick, but I'm pretty sure they did not play last night. Um, Let me check that real quick here, because now I should have checked this beforehand, but I didn't, because such a professional, right? Let's see. Yesterday being the 13th. Did the Rangers play yesterday? I want to say they didn't. They did not. Okay, that's what I thought. And, like, I don't know. I feel like the whole back-to-back thing, I don't even know how much it matters anymore nowadays necessarily, so, but I think it is worth mentioning. So we'll go through the notes, go through the stats first, then my notes. That's how this thing works. So the shots were 30-22 in favor of the Sens. And this is the oddity right here, the face-off percentage. I think this might be the worst game of the season for the Sens in the face-off dot, 34%. 66% for the Rangers, but it didn't hurt them tonight, obviously. So power play, they do go 1 for 3. Penalty kill, they were one. Wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. 1 for 1 on the power play. Is that right? Apparently. Okay, I don't know why I thought that was wrong, but yeah, no, that is right. Now that I think about it, they were 0 for 1 on the penalty kill. Surprise, surprise. We all know the penalty kill is terrible, so that didn't really matter tonight. Penalty minutes 2 for the Sens, 6 for the Rangers. The hits were 38-13 for the Rangers, and I think part of the reason is because, now, like I said, it kind of felt like the game last night where the Canucks could barely touch the puck. The Rangers could barely touch the puck early on as well, so it's like if you don't have the puck, you're probably going to be hitting a lot more frequently, right? So that's a crazy number, 38 hits. So block shots were 20-16 in favor of the Rangers, and the giveaways 24 by the Rangers and 12 by the Sens. Takeaways were 6-3 in favor of the Rangers, and these two teams will not meet again for a little while, not till March 23rd, and that will be in New York again. And we'll go through my notes, and I feel like all of my notes are gonna be just goals pretty much because there were 12 goals tonight. So we're just gonna get right to it. So a minute 33 seconds into the game, Trocheck takes a holding penalty, so the Sens go to the power play. So right away they are shooting. They are shooting the puck on the power play, which is what you should probably be doing, right? So there was a Dylan Cousins one-timer from the slot, and this would squeak past quick, and it might have been going in anyways, but Batherson was there to bury it, make sure it goes in. So the Sens go up 1-0 very early in this game. So 2:18 into the game, Batherson scores on the power play, his 18th of the season from Dylan Cousins and Tkachuk, and the Sens are up 1-0 very early. So then at the 4:53 mark, there was a point shot by Jensen. This would go off a Rangers player, and it goes in. And the Sens are up 2-0. We're not even 5 minutes into the game here. So I'm like, what the heck is happening? So Jensen scores his 3rd of the season from Greg and Dylan Cousins, and they have already equaled their total number of goals that they got in the game last night. So it's like, okay, what a start. What is this? We're not used to seeing this. So 5 minutes into the game, the shots are 8-1 for the Sens. So 2 goals on 8 shots. This is fantastic. So the Sens are just dominating early, and again, it felt exactly like the game last night, except their chances are going in tonight. So the crowd starts booing their team. The Rangers, they're barely touching the puck. Again, they've been struggling big time at home. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. So there was a puck that would go towards the Ottawa net. This would lead to a scrum. Nothing comes out of it, no penalties or anything. And it's just chances galore at the Rangers net. Like this team, in the first period especially, they looked horrible. The Rangers, that is. I just don't know how to explain it, how they can look so bad on home ice. And again, you look at their home record. What is it now? 5 and... I do have the standings pulled up here. They are now 5-13-4 on home ice. Like that's crazy for any team to have that. So we are halfway through the period. The shots are 11-4 for the Sens. So we would end up playing about 6.5 minutes without a whistle. The game is kind of flying by, minus the goals. So there was a long shot that was stopped by Merlainen, and it looked like he didn't really see it. This could have easily went in, so I'm like, oh my god, I'm kind of holding my breath here every shot towards the net, because, of course, he just played in the game last night, too. So then, this is funny. The Sens would get a 2-on-1, and I literally yelled, shoot. I yelled it. I was like, shoot the puck. It was Brady Tkachuk. He has the puck, and guess what he does? He shoots, and he scores. His 200th goal of his career, off the post and in. Heck of a shot, and this would make it 3-0 Sens. So Kachuk scores at the 15:01 mark from Greg and Jensen. Now, a few players had quite the first period tonight. We'll get to that in a minute. So, Kachuk on this goal, he is the fourth Senator player to ever reach 200 goals with the franchise. He is the second fastest to ever do it. I think the fastest was I believe they said Yashin. That's crazy. Second fastest ever to do it for the franchise. So, congrats to the captain. And hey, I said it, man. Like 2-on-1, I literally yelled shoot. He shot it, and it went in. So yeah, the Sens are up 3-0. They've got 3 goals on 12 shots. So I'm like, keep shooting it, guys. Good things are happening. So just keep it going. So at the 1954 mark, a very late goal here, Dylan Cousins would get a shot from the slot and he would score. At the 1954 mark, like 6 seconds left in the period, that is his 13th of the season from Greg and Kachuk, and the Sens are up 4-0 in the first period. I'm like, what? What is this? It feels like I'm dreaming. And like I literally said that on one of the Ottawa Senators like official page, like one of their posts on X. I was like, that this feels like I'm dreaming. Like, is this real life? Like, we're not used to seeing their chances go in like this, but oh, it's just so refreshing. So, in that first period, I'm pretty sure I have it in my notes somewhere. Do I have it in my notes? Because there is something I wanted to read off. Yes, I have it right here. So Kachuk, Dylan Cousins, and Greg all had 3 points in the first period. That is insane. Like, when was the last time that happened for any team? Never mind the Sens, but that's crazy. Like, I'm just like, guys, keep this going. We're shooting the puck. Good things are happening. It's going in. We need to keep this going. And this was also the third time this season that the Sens have scored 4 goals in a period. So yeah, this is like a dream start if you're a Sens fan. Like, I don't know what else to say. So the shots after the first period were 14-6 in favor of the Sens, and they're dominating, absolutely dominating. So we do roll on to the second period here, and the domination kind of continues. So there was a 2-on-1 down low for the Rangers. The shot was stopped, and the rebound was hit out of midair. It might have went in, I don't know, but it was still stopped. So now here, this play coming up here, I'm going to talk about it. I don't really agree with it. So there was a shot that was blocked by Susie, and he's hurt on the play. Now, sometimes players will fake injuries, sadly. It's sad but true. Now, he blocks the shot. The puck goes down the other way. They don't blow this down at any point. So Susie is still down on the ice in his end when the puck is in the other end, but the play is still going on. And the Sens they'd end up taking advantage here. So I'm like, what? Wait, why isn't this getting blown down? Because like he's hurt. But again, it's like, is he faking it? I'm not saying he was faking it, but I'm trying to view this from the ref's point of view. It's like, well, how serious is the injury and all that? Because he got off, I believe it was the inside of the foot, and he stayed down for a while. So by the time he gets up, the puck is basically in the back of the net because Sanderson would let a shot go from the point, and he would score to make it 5-0 for the Sens. So we are 5:57 into the second period. Sanderson scores his 9th of the season from Zub and Nick Cousins. And this team is up 5-0. And we're not even halfway through the game. Like, what is happening tonight? This is just insane. So, but again, I think the play should have been blown down here. And it's like, this is the kind of thing that would go against the Sens usually. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, something's in the air tonight. Like, we don't usually get breaks like this, but again, good on them for taking advantage. So I put in my notes here, like the Rangers to this point, they have nothing going on at all right now, just nothing. So right after I say that, Miller would get a one-timer from the slot that was stopped, and This was a good chance. So I put in my notes here, this feels like a shot that normally would have went in on Merilinen, but he stopped it. So this was funny here. So Panarin, he falls in the corner, he gets back up, then he falls again, and then Merilinen ends up falling. It's like all in the span of like 15, 20 seconds. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Is the ice bad over there or something? Like three guys falling in the span of like 15 seconds in the same part of the ice. I thought that was funny, so I made a note of it. Um, so then at the 12:23 mark, Shabbat would get a one-timer from the point, and this goes straight in. Didn't look like there was a screen or anything. It just goes straight in. This is kind of a bad one on quick. So yeah, Thomas Chabot scores his fifth of the season at the 12:23 mark from Nick Cousins and David Perron, and the Sens are up 6-0. Like, what is happening? I don't know. I don't know what is happening. Like I don't know. I just wish I had an answer. It's like what happened tonight. It feels like this is something that probably should happen or should have happened in previous games because it's like they get chances and they can't finish, but tonight they were finishing. That is the difference. Big time. So after this goal, we would end up seeing a goalie change. I'm kind of surprised they didn't take Quick out sooner, but they do take him out after the sixth one. So in comes Spencer Martin. So the Rangers would get a 2-on-1, and they pulled in Ottawa. They passed it and they didn't shoot. So I'm like, I know what that's like. We've been there before. So then there was a pass down low to Perreault, and he would score. He was left all alone, no one around him at all. Kind of an easy tuck in for him. So Gabe Perreault scores his second of the season at the 18:55 mark of the second period. So it's a late one from Miller and Zibanejad. That would make it 6-1. And it's like, okay, when this went in, I was like, okay, well, I wasn't really expecting a shutout tonight because, like, so it's not that big of a deal, right? So at the very end of the period, Trocheck would take another penalty. This one was for high sticking. So the Sens would end up starting the third period with a power play. So we do end the second period. Not a lot of shots in that second period, just 6-6. 6 shots each. So that is it for the second period. And we do roll on to the third period here. So the Rangers do end up killing off that penalty. And I put in my notes here, like the Sens, so the score is 6-1 at this point, right? And I have in my notes when it was 6-1. I'm just like, the Sens just need to lock it down, good habits, consistency, because when you're up by a lot, like they were tonight, they were up 6-0 at one point, and then you see what it ended up as. The tendency, of course, can be to sit back, but you want to have, like I said, good habits, consistency, because you don't want to give the team energy or life or anything, and you just don't want to fall into bad habits, right? Because then it can leak over into other games and all this and that. And yeah, didn't love the third period tonight, and you're gonna find out why. We can kind of figure out why just by the score and everything. So there was right after I put that in my notes, there was a 2-on-1 for the Rangers, and Perreault would score again. So Perreault scores his second of the game at the 5:26 mark of the third period from Zibanejad and Miller. This would make it 6-2. So I'm like, just I know this is gonna sound just absolutely ridiculous, but I'm like, oh, well, there's still a lot of time, right? There's still a lot of time. So maybe. I know that sounds ridiculous when they're up 6-0, but hey, I know how fragile this team can be, so is it that crazy to say? And I put in my notes here, I'm just like, don't do this, please. Don't do it. But they didn't do it. So there was a Ottawa shot that was deflected. It kind of goes behind the net, and then it was batted back out front in midair by, I think it was Batherson, but it ended up being a high stick, so it wouldn't have counted anyways if it went in, which it didn't, but, still a close call. So then Perron, that kind of out of nowhere here, Perron gets a short side shot and he scores. just like that. So Perron scores at the 8:20 mark of the third period. This was unassisted. That's his ninth of the season, and this would make it 7-2. Just a wild game tonight. So then, shortly after that goal, Perron would take an interference penalty. So I'm like, oh, okay. So kind of had a feeling this was, you see where this is going, right? You see what the Rangers' power play was. So Gavrikov would have a shot that would go off the post. So close call there. And then there was a shot that was blocked, and Laba would score on the power play at the 10:44 mark of the third from Lafreniere and Morrow, and this would make it 7-3. And I don't like how sloppy they are in this period. Yes, they are up by a lot, but again, it's all about good habits, right? And consistency. So just I'm nervous that this is gonna kind of leak over into the next game, which we'll get to, and you see who they're playing. But I did not like their third period tonight. So Stutzla would have a good look that was stopped, a good chance for him there. And I put in my notes right here, the Sens are they're getting a bit too sloppy for my liking. The Rangers are starting to get chances. Now, yes, they are up 7-3, but at this point, there is still enough time for a comeback. There is. And you just don't want to make those bad habits, right? You don't want to start doing stuff like that. So then, Lafreniere would get a shot from the slot and he would score. So this would make it 7-4. At the 15:58 mark of the third, Lafreniere scores from Panarin and Soucy, makes it 7-4. So now the Sens' 6-goal lead is now down to a 3-goal lead. So again, you can kind of see why I didn't like this third period. Again, yes, they do end up winning by 4, but yeah, just a wild game tonight. So Laba would take a high sticking penalty off the following face-off right after that goal. So I'm like, okay, we should be fine now. So Jensen would have a shot that would knock the mask off of Martin. So thankfully he was okay there. So the Rangers, I was wondering if they would end up pulling Martin because they're down by 3. They do end up pulling him with about a minute and a half left. And Stutzla would end up scoring an empty netter. So that comes at the 19:11 mark. That's his 20th of the season from Tkachuk and Sanderson. And that would make it 8-4 Sens, which ends up being your final. And that's pretty much it for my notes. They're just crazy, absolutely crazy. So the shots in that third period end up being 10-10. 30-22 overall. They actually didn't change it on me this time. Look at that. They stayed the same. All right, so we will look at our 3 stars, and you could pick a few guys tonight. So the first star of the game was the captain, Tkachuk. He scored his 200th career goal, along with 3 assists. A 4-point night for Brady Tkachuk tonight. And second star of the game was Dylan Cousins. He had a goal and 2 assists. And the third star of the game was Greg. He had 3 assists. So a lot of guys racking up the points tonight. So we will go through the box score. There's going to be a lot to read off tonight. My goodness. So for the forwards, we got Tkachuk, as mentioned, 1 goal, 3 assists. Dylan Cousins, 1 goal, 2 assists. Greg, 3 assists. 2 assists for Nick Cousins. A goal and an assist for Perron. Stutzla had a goal. Batherson had a goal. And on the defense, we got Jensen and Sanderson with 1 goal and 1 assist. Zub had 1 assist. Shabbat had 1 goal. And for plus minus, there are a few minuses. No defenseman was a minus. So Jensen, Clevin, and Shabbat were all +2. Zub and Spence were +1. And on the forwards, we got Tkachuk, Nick Cousins, Perron, and Eller were all +3. Dylan Cousins and Greg were +2. And then Pinto, Batherson, Zetterlund, and Amadio were all -1. Everyone I didn't mention, it was even. Alright, so time on ice leader was Stutzla again for forwards, 17:43. And leading the defense in ice time was Shabbat, actually, not Sanderson tonight. So Shabbat played 23:12. And leading the defenseman in shots was Zub with 4. And leading forwards in shots was Tkachuk with 6. He did score tonight, of course. And then for blocks, we have Batherson, Zetterlund, Cousins, Nick Cousins Greg and Eller all with 1. And then on the defense, Sanderson had 5 blocks. That's good to see. I like that. For hits, just 1 hit apparently for all the defensemen. Shabbat had it. And then for hits for forwards, Zetterlund had the most with 5. That's, what the heck? Zetterlund had almost half of the team's hits apparently. Okay. And now sadly, when we look at the save percentage for Merlainen, it is kind of a bad night for him again. It stops 18 out of 22 for an 818 save percentage. That's why I was so happy for him last night when he finally had a good save percentage, but see, this is what we need to see more of. Not the bad save percentage, but when your goalie is struggling or maybe not as skilled as other goalies, your offense needs to show up, and that's exactly what happened tonight, right? So yeah, just overall thoughts on the game. It's just I'm more relieved than anything. Just seeing chances go in finally, 8-4, and again, 8 goals is the most goals that they have scored in a game this season. So yeah, it just goes to show what this team can really do, right? Now I know the Rangers are struggling big time at home, but still, 8 goals is 8 goals. I mean, how often do you see 8 goals, right? That's not that often. Um, so yeah, it's a huge win for the Sens, and I do feel like this was a game that they had to win. Now, if they did this against like a Colorado team or something, well that'd be a different story. But we're in a league nowadays where anybody can beat anybody on any given night, so you can't take anyone lightly. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this one. So we will go look at the standings now. Well, we'll look at the wild card first. So Sens now 22, 19, and 5. They are 5 points out of a playoff spot, but they have won the last 2. Now, I wanted to look at the division standings in last night's episode, but I forgot to do it, so I'm going to do it right now. Now, the Sens need to win. They really need to go on some kind of run here because, well, it feels like everyone else in the division is winning, like, against everybody. You've got Tampa, who has won 11 in a row. Yeah, that's a thing. That's happening. Then you've got the Red Wings, 6-3-1. Montreal's doing really good. Buffalo's 8-2 in their last 10. Toronto is 7-1-2 in their last 10. Like, the Sens, they're dead last in the division, but just hopefully these last 2 games, even though they were against the worst team in each conference, when you score, it can do wonders for you, right? So hopefully the fact that they buried some of their chances, or a lot of their chances tonight, hopefully it gives them the confidence that they need to beat the stronger teams, because they're going to need it, because, well, their next opponent is going to be on Saturday, January 17th, at his Hockey Day in Canada, and they're going to be up against the Montreal Canadiens, who are doing quite well this season. So Montreal is 26-14-7. They are 6-2-2 in their last 10. They've only got 4 regulation losses on the road. They are 13-4-6 on the road. They've actually got a way better road record than home record, which is kind of odd for Montreal. But yeah, that's not going to be an easy one. And I should have had the schedule pulled up here, but I don't. I can get it up real quick here. So if we look at the schedule for the Sens, you got Montreal and Detroit back-to-back this weekend, 2 divisional rivals. So those are 2 big games. These last 2 nights here, it's great. You get the wins, you beat the teams you're supposed to beat, but yeah, these 2 games on the weekend coming up against Montreal and Detroit, they're going to be a real test. That game against the Red Wings is going to be on the road as well. So the game on Saturday against Montreal, that will be a home game, and then they'll be going on a little 3-game road trip after that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But this was a wild one tonight, needless to say. So that is pretty much all I want to say, guys. Massive win for the Sens. There's just so much to unpack here. Again, 8 goals is the most goals that they have scored in a game this season. And of course, congrats to Brady Tkachuk, the captain, scoring his 200th career goal. Also a 4-point night. And yeah, we'll see if they can ride this momentum into Saturday against the Canadiens. And again, we'll see who starts in net, because if Merlainen starts again, I'm pretty sure he's going to set a season record for the longest start streak for a goalie in the league, I think. Because that'd be his 10th straight start. But maybe Reimer will be ready by then. He was actually the backup tonight, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. But anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here. The Sens win this by a score of 8-4 against the New York Rangers. And again, it's more relief than anything else. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and go Sens go.